You'll have to forgive me for being a bit noisy in here. I've finally got the tape drive going and the fan in it's a bit noisy, so hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. But I've finally got a serial attached SCSI card here in the shuttle computer. You can just about see that orange glow. It's not a pilot light, it's actually an orange LED that suggests that this tape drive is plugged in. But before I show you how it works, I'll just have a quick look around the back. This is actually the connector. This is it an 8088 connector, I think? It's actually a really peculiar style connector, I think. It's obviously not in focus. It's actually like a little printed circuit board with a metal housing, so quite interesting, but bit of an awkward latch, but it feels very secure. So I have tested it. It all works fine, and I'm just going to show you today how it works and what you can do with it. So I've got here a cartridge. This is a Fujifilm brand tape. It does have data on it already because I have been busy testing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually erase this, and then I'll show you how to actually copy data and retrieve data from it. So I can just about do it with one hand. And while that's loading up, I've got here a bit of a cheat sheet. I've been figuring out some commands to use. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make tar files and copy the individual tar files onto the tape. I'm not using any backup software, I'm not doing any kind of automation or anything like that. I want to keep it nice and simple because all I really want to do is use it for backing up individual projects and sometimes archiving individual projects. And here we've got the man page for the MT command. This is a Linux system, everything worked out of the box. For the auto exposure. The SAS card didn't need any drivers installing, the tape drive didn't need any drivers. It all worked out of the box. So, wrong one. I can quit out of that. And we can just do a status command first. So, I've just been playing with it. There we go, status. And you see the status there, that tells us what type of drive it is, and it tells us what file number and block number we're on. I've just inserted the tape, so we're at file number 0. There's actually 3 files on this tape, so we could fast forward it through 3 files to get to the one we want, but I actually want to erase the tape. So I'm just going to go back to the same command. I'm going to do erase, and we'll see what it does. And that presumably is just going to go through the entire tape and erase it. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know if it'll erase just the data I've recorded onto it or whether it'll erase the entire 800 gigabytes. I don't actually know, so I'm just going to leave that for a while and I'll restart the video when it's finished. So it's still going. MT doesn't actually give you a progress bar or anything like that. You just have to wait for the command to exit out, and hopefully with no errors, but it's still going. I think I'm going to suffer the consequences of putting the camera in auto exposure mode, aren't I here? There we go, I think it's just got to the end of the tape and it's just changing direction. Right, it's been erasing for about an hour now, so I don't know how long it's going to take. So I've erased the data on that tape, so it's all blank. We know that the tape's good, we know that the machine's good, and it's time to record some actual data onto it now. So the first thing I'm going to record onto the tape is this one called Manva's Review. That's basically a set of video files with time codes on them, which I made for a broadcaster to review. Don't particularly want those clogging up the hard drive, but I want a copy somewhere lurking around just in case anyone else needs them. So that'll be probably about 20 gigabytes or so. And I've got here a series of commands that we can use. We're going to use the tar command. TAR stands for tape archive, and we can use create V I think is verbose mode, B is the block size. You need a bigger block size for tape, because if you use a smaller block size, basically it won't do it quick enough and it'll be winding the tape back and forth. And that's basically the NST0 is the tape drive that we're going to use, and then you just put the folder name in. So if we open a terminal, we can do MT-F NST0 status. That loads the status information. We can see there we're at file number 0, so we're going to start here, and then we can type the tar command in. So there's our tar command, specifying the folder we want to write to. Hopefully, if I press return on the keyboard, the tape drive will start. And indeed it is, and you can see with the verbose output it's actually showing us the specific paths of the file names that it's writing, and it'll get through that pretty quickly. Well, it's about 25 gigabytes there, and it didn't take too long, it only took a few minutes. So you can see it's finished, and what I'm going to do is, I've made a text file here where I'm going to state what's what, and I'm just going to copy and paste all these out of the terminal. This is where the verbose output is quite useful. I'm just going to copy and paste that into this text file, and then when I come to extract it off the tape, I could either extract the whole folder or I could just extract an individual file, because if we know exactly what files we want, they're not actually in order. I don't know how it's decided what order to copy them in, but I've got the specific names of the individual files, so if I want a specific one, I can just retrieve the specific file that I want. So anyway, now that we've done that, we can run status again, and you'll see that we're at file number 1. So the file we've just written is file 0. We're now on file number 1, and we're ready to write some more data. So now on file number 1, we've got some more review copies of video. There we go, that's only a few gigabytes, so that won't take too long. And that's done, that only took a moment. You can see there it's finished. And if we do status somewhere, status, you'll see we're now at file number 2. I'm actually just copying some data off an SD card now. Looks like that's 47 gigabytes, looks like it's going to take about 10 minutes total, so we'll see how long that takes to write to a tape compared to an SD card. So it took about 10 minutes to copy about 50 odd gigabytes off an SD card. I'm just going to copy that same data on a bit more onto the LTO tape, so let's see how long that takes. It's 9:06. So it finished at 17 past, so it took a little while. Took just over 10 minutes, I think. Didn't quite beat the speed of copying from the SD card to the hard drive, but it did beat the write speed of the SD card itself. I just copied the same data on another computer onto the SD card, and it took over half an hour. So we've recorded some data to the tape. Now we need to get some data off the tape, so we can insert it and wait for it to load up. So we can run the status command, and that'll tell us we're at the beginning of the tape. We're at file number 0, block number 0. So we've got all these different files on the tape now. We've got file 5 here. I'm going to load up file 5, which is an entire tar file containing all this project. So now I've just got to remember how to do it. So if we're at file 0, that means we need to wind the tape on to file 5. Now if we look at the man page, we can see we can use there the FSF command to forward to a certain number of files. So we'll probably want to go to forward it on 5 files, I think. So There we go, put FSF5. Hopefully it'll do it. It's winding on. Right, so it's wound on. If we run the status command, it should tell us where we are. We're on file number 5, block number 0. That means we're at the start of file number 5. We're not halfway through it or at the end of it. We're at the beginning, which is where we want to be, because we want to load the data in. So I've prepared a bit of a cheat sheet with some commands. These are the commands which I've used. These files, these tar files, are all created with a block size. We can see there it says -B2048. Basically you need a large block size to write tape. I tried it with the standard size, and it actually shuttled the tape back and forth and back and forth and back and forth far too much, whereas using a much larger size, it just wrote it all in one go. But the only thing to watch out for is, whatever you use, you need to specify the same command when you're reading the file back. So here, that's to create it, this is to extract it. It's more or less the same as extracting a tar file on a hard drive. So that there is the command to extract it. We want verbose mode, that's the block size. That's to extract it. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from the tape drive, which is NST0, and this is where it's going to go. So there we go. And you can see the files are actually coming out. The tape's going, and it's listing the files. And if I get a file manager up, we can see there's our folder, and there's the files. And you might actually notice the tape drive's actually running at different speeds. So I'm wondering if the hard drive I'm saving onto, which is in this computer, I've actually put an old 1TB hard drive in, which was going spare because I'm running out of space. I'm wondering if that perhaps can't write fast enough to keep up with the tape drive. I don't know. But you can see we've got a load of files there, they're all coming out nicely. Now this won't take very long because these files aren't actually that big. You can see the drive actually keeps stopping and starting. And we're done. That all came out in about a minute or so. So we can just load that up, and we can load our video files up. These are the video files which I archived onto the tape. It's only HD stuff, so they're not very big. But now, if we run status, we'll actually be at the end of file 5. You can see we're still on file 5, but we're on block number 6019. So that's actually the end of file 5. Now I want to write some new data to the tape. I've accumulated a lot of data since the other day when I wrote all these, so I somehow need to get to the end. The last file is file number 6, so I need to get to the new file number 7, I suppose. So I've got the man page back up, and I'm going to try this command, EOM, space to the end of recorded media on the tape. So rather than winding it to file 6 or whatever, I'm going to do that one because that's the end of the tape, because we are literally appending data to the tape. So there it says EOM. And it's winding itself on again. So now running status again, you can see we're at file number 7, which is where we want to be, but we're at block number -1. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'd have thought it would be block 0. Time to Google. So I get the impression it doesn't really matter if you're at block 0 or block -1. Whatever it is, we're at the end of the data on the tape. So I've changed the directory to where the data is I want to write. There's the tar command. And you can hear the tape drive going, and then it'll just print out the files it's recording. Right, that's all done. I'm just going to try out some commands just to get a list of files on the tape. Firstly, we'll just run status again just to see where we are. You can see we're at file number 8 now. So to rewind the tape, we can... I've probably got the command in the buffer somewhere. We can use BSF1, which will take us back to file 7. So you can do that multiple times. You can, instead of one, you could go several files at a time. There we go, so we've gone from 7 to 6. So I'm just going to do a command just to get a listing of whatever it is at file 6, hopefully. So the command there is -t. That gives you a list. V is verbose, and there's the block size. And that should just list for us whatever is at file 6, I'm going to guess. Oh. Or not. Do we have to forward to beyond block -1? I don't know. Don't think that's quite what I wanted. Yeah, it helps if you remember whereabouts you are. Right, so there we're at file 8. I didn't want to be at file 8 because there isn't a file 8, that's basically the next one. I think I'm getting everything muddled up a bit here. So if I go... How about if we start again and just do rewind. That'll rewind it back to the start. Right, so I'll rewind the tape to the beginning. You can see we're at file number 0, block number 0. And I'm just going to run the tar list command, which is that one. Tar -t is to list, V is verbose, that's the block size, and that's the tape drive. This is the data we put on the other day, which is the Manvers review copies. And you see it comes up straight away with a listing. Now I don't know if that's just going to do file 0. Will it stop at the end of that particular file? I'm guessing it probably will. Yeah, we'll just wait and see. I'm guessing it's not going to go through the entire tape, it's just going to do that one file. But we'll wait and see. There we go, so that's the listing done. It did only do file 1, so we're probably at file 2 now. I'm just sort of going through this as a bit of an experiment, because I'm actually quite new to LTO, so I'm trying to learn it. Yeah, you see we're at file number 0, but we're right at the end of the file, at block number 25605. So we're actually right at the end of the file, we're not at file 1. So in order to carry on and get a listing of file number 1, we need to get it onto file 1. I don't think I can do the tar command again. No, it won't, because we're still at the end of file 0, we're not on file 1, so I need to move it to file 1. So to do that, I think we need to do the forward. by one position, and that should only take that ought to be pretty much immediate. So he says. I bet this is going to forward me to the end of file number 1 now, isn't it? Or to file 2. Yeah, this is the problem when you don't quite know where you are in a certain file, or where you're actually heading. So we're now somewhere. Reduce status, we're at file number 2. Well, I don't want to be at file number 2. I want to be at file number 1. So how do we get to file number 1? If I do, if I just load the man page just to make sure I do actually use the right command. Yeah, BSF, the tape is positioned on the first block of the next file. So, yeah, so I should be able to use BSF1 to go back, shouldn't I? BSF1, that should take us to block 0 of file 1. But it hasn't, it's done something. It's taken us to file 1, block number -1. So that's, I'm guessing block number -1 is the very end of file number 1 or something. So if we do it again, now the tape's spun up and it's rewinding, whereabouts will it take us this time? There we go, it's finished that. So let's see whereabouts we are. We're now at file 0, block number -1. This is too confusing for me. I'm going to try a different command. I still can't quite figure out exactly what it means by -0. Right, I'm going to actually try this one. ASF absolute space to file number count equivalent to rewind followed by that. So that should give us the actual file rather than just forwarding rather than just going forward and backward by a certain amount. This should give us an absolute file. So we want file number 1, which is this one, Manchester review copies. I'm going to guess that will take us to file 1, hopefully. It sounded like it rewound it, so it's probably gone back to the very beginning and then forwarded it on to get to file 1. I'm guessing. There we go, that's done. So now if we do status, we're at file 1. So now we're at file 1, we can do the tar list command, which is that one, and that should give us a list of everything in file 1. And you can see, yes, that is indeed the Manchester review files. So we're at file number 4, and I'm just going to do a list. You can see there's the listing coming up. But if we press Ctrl and C to cancel it, we're stuck somewhere within the file. So there you see we're at block number 444. But you can see from the man page that we can use the seek command. Seek to block number count. So we ought to be able to seek to a specific block number. So I'm going to do seek, and then I don't know, why not block 500? No, can't do that. How about 300? No. 0? No. Well, turns out we don't like doing that. Yeah, I've just tried to forward it on 2 positions, and it says now we're at file -1. It really can't make its mind up, can it? Well, let's try and do a listing and see if there's anything there. Yeah, that's actually file 6. So now we've moved it on a bit. If we do status, yeah, that's not file -1, that's file 6. Let's see if we can get it onto file 7. Yeah, I can see LTFS on the newer LTO-5 being quite useful here. So it still says file number -1. I don't know why. But if we do the listing, yeah, again we're on to York Pride now. So you know, it knows where the start of the file is. I don't know why it says file -1. It knows where the start of the file is. Let's just see if we can get to the end of it. So we're almost at the end of file 7. There we go. And we'll just see what the status command tells us. It still says file number -1. So I don't know why, but we've got the whole lot. You know, we've managed to read a file listing for the entire tape pretty much. So I'm satisfied that that's worked. I think it's just a case of really of keeping track of what file you're on and whereabouts you are. It's difficult to keep track of, but yeah, the data's all there. It's probably a lot easier with LTFS, but I think as long as you do actually write it down, it's not too hard. And I think that'll be enough backing and going backwards and forwards with tape. So I'll just press the eject button, rewind it, and that's me done.